Okay, let's talk Jimmy Eat World. Futures.
Literally, I was like, whoa, that is crazy.
Volume slowly goes up.
I was so wrong. It sounded awful.
Yeah, didn't know what that was. Still don't.
You'll get there.
Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Not in the Background podcast, your weekly dose of music talk and music recommendations. As I mentioned at the start, the band we're talking about this week is Jimmy Eat World, and the album we're going to take a little deep dive on is called Futures, one of my favorite all-time albums, so I'm really looking forward to this. We're going to talk about 3 of my favorite songs off that album and then an honorable mention along the way. So a little bit of background on Jimmy Eat World. Jimmy Eat World are a rock band from Arizona who have been active since 1993. In that time, they've toured all over the world. I have seen them 3 times live, actually, in 3 different places. I saw them live at Reading Festival in 2013, 2014. I also saw them live in Arizona in their home country and their home state a few years ago. And then I've also seen them live at Alexandra Palace, which is a venue in London. Amazing all 3 times. And I look forward to seeing them every single time I see them. If you haven't heard of Futures, the album, or any of their other songs, you might have heard of their I'd say arguably their most famous song, which is The Middle. Look it up, you'll recognize it. You probably would have seen the music video. I played it on Rock Band on PSP when I was younger, when I was a kid. I think that was around 2008. So yeah, it's been around for a while and they've been around for a while, but Jimmy Eat World have been consistently amazing and the album Futures is amazing. So let's dive into it. First song I want to talk about off of the Futures album is the album title track, which is the opening track on the album Futures. And in typical Jimmy Eat World fashion, you don't dive into the album with a really slow instrumental track or like a skit or some sort of intro. It's straight in with the drums from Zach Lind hitting hard right off of the bat, and then this really crunchy guitar riff that goes throughout this whole song. One of the things that I really like about Jimmy Eat World, as well as the musicianship of it, is Jimmy's voice, the lead singer's voice, because he has this sort of high register within his voice, and it works really well with telling the emotive elements of their songs. They have a lot of songs that are quite dark or quite solemn in places, and his vocals really help with pulling along the heartstrings and the darker elements of those songs, which is really cool. And along with the high-pitched voice and the emotiveness, I think what that adds to is their very singable choruses. Futures has a very singable chorus and is often a song that they will open with on their tours as well. And it's an amazing album opener and an amazing track as well as that. As you get through the song and, you've gone through the initial, whoa, okay, we're into the album. Excellent. You get to the bridge, and in the bridge, there's this really groovy drum beat from Zach, the drummer, which you just can't help but sort of bop along to. It's not quite your sort of heavy metal headbang at a gig where, you wake up and have to check the cervical spine and the vertebrae to see if everything's still in order and your neck aches for the whole next day, which I would argue is the sign of a good gig. This is more of those headbangs that's like a kind of like, oh yeah, I'm grooving along to this, it's great. So you've got this amazing section in the bridge where there's this drum beat, and on top of that you have Jim's vocals, and the lyric within his vocals there is my favorite part of the song, because I think it says a lot about the story of the album whilst also saying a lot about the story of the song as well. So the lyric is, "Hey now, the past is told by those who win, my darling. What matters is what hasn't been. Hey now, we're wide awake and we're thinking, my darling. Believe your voice can mean something." So this is really cool because obviously the song Futures, there's an element of focusing on the future, but this brings the past into that. And what it's saying is that history is obviously written by the winners, whether that be of wars, of, politics and so on. However, believe that your voice can mean something and you can make a change, whether that's making a change to the history that's already written by righting the wrongs, or whether that's, putting your voice onto something you care about for the future. you're not powerless just because history is written by the winners. You have the power to make a change. You have the power to believe in what you want to believe in. So it's a really amazing lyric and a really amazing song to just dive you straight into the album. There's no messing about, like I said, and it's a really cool song. Like I said, singable chorus, great vocals, great lyrics, great guitar, great drums, just everything. 10 out of 10 song opener, no notes. After this, going from that, you move into some of the other tracks in the album. The next song actually is a bit softer in tone. And then there's a song called The World You Love. This is an honorable mention because it's not one of my favorites off the album, but I thought it was worth mentioning because I noticed with the guitar of it, there's a lot of uniqueness in the guitar in Jimmy Eat World songs. And with the guitar in this song, it really reminded me of the sound of the guitar that Arcade Fire use on their song Year of the Snake, which is off their latest album Pink Elephant that came out sort of mid last year, I think. I do have it on vinyl, but there's a few vinyls that came out in kind of the April-May time. I think this one was one of the May time ones that was we really enjoyed, but a lot came out at the same time. And yeah, so the guitar in that Year of the Snake song, which is quite ethereal and quite unusual, and the song's quite unusual, and the music video is quite unusual, it sounds kind of similar in tone to the guitar on The World We Love, The World You Love, by Jimmy Eat World off of this album. So yeah, definitely check it out and tell me if you think the same, or if you love Jimmy Eat World and you want a song that's similar, that's a good place to jump to. Or if you love Arcade Fire and you want to listen to the Jimmy Eat World song, it's good. It's good. That's why I like finding the influences and the little places where things sound similar. Because if you love Jimmy Eat World and suddenly you can find an Arcade Fire song that you connect to and then you like the both of them, well, you've just discovered two bands and everyone's a winner. So yeah, definitely check that out. And check out the music video of Year of the Snake as well, because it's done in a really, it's like kaleidoscopic is how I'd describe it. And the song feels a bit like that. But when you watch the music video and the music's in the background, you're just sort of taken on this really strange journey, and the visuals are amazing and really strange as well. So yeah, definitely check out the song and check out the music video. Moving on to the next song, my not second favorite, but another one of my favorites off the album is the song Polaris. So Polaris is actually another word for the North Star. Now, it's quite a striking title, and if you're paying attention to, music titles and what songs could potentially mean, then this could give a bit of an indication as you go through the lyrics to what it is. It's not like a Fall Out Boy song where you have to try and guess whatever the hell is going on. Like, I'm like, what's the one where it's off? I can't remember what album if it was off of. Infinity on High, I think, where it's that I'm like a lawyer with the way I'm trying to Scatman, so on. Polaris, single word, job done, North Star, let's get into it. I love the guitar on this song. The guitar's quite haunting. And like I said, with Jimmy Eat World, you often go to these dark places with the songs that are indicative of what the band tries to do. There's a few softer songs, like even the middle is kind of a bit more pop punky and it's their most well-known song, but when you deep dive into the albums, there's a lot of darkness in there, and the guitar in Polaris is really quite dark. The actual structure of the song, I find that in the verses it almost feels like he's talking to himself. And it's almost like mumbling, like it's almost like he's trying to talk to himself. And then the choruses are much more upscaled in comparison. There's a real big contrast in there. And one of the things with the chorus that I'll talk about is what it kind of, the chorus is, I feel, what really tells me what the song is about. So the chorus is, you say that love goes anywhere. In your darkest time, it's just enough to know it's there. When you go, I'll let you be, but you're killing everything in me. So to me, what this kind of feels like he's talking about is that he's singing to his Polaris or his North Star that he's trying to get back to. And that might be friends from his hometown, family from his hometown, people he cares about, or just his hometown in general, maybe he wants to get back to, but can't because he's touring. And because he's touring, he's away from this. And he's going, in my darkest times, I can still know that the love is there and the love I have from the people is there. And, it kills everything in me to not be there sometimes, which I can understand. So when it's the the verses that I said feel like he's kind of talking to himself. It's almost like he's giving himself a pep talk in the mirror to be like, no, I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. I'm doing what I was put on this earth to do. And these are the sacrifices, and it's okay to feel crappy about the sacrifices sometimes. And then the chorus is almost like the chorus is so much more upscaled in comparison to the verses. It kind of feels like the chorus is like something that he's singing with his fans and his fans engage with. And, you know, it's one of those choruses that when you see them live, you want to hear the song because you want to be a part of that. So you kind of get the contrast between the I'm on my own and feeling a bit bad about this and I'm feeling a bit down about this versus the chorus where it's like the big, powerful element of it. So it's a really interesting contrast. Another thing about the song that I really like is it reminds me of a song called Gloria by a band Canterbury. They're a British band that they aren't together anymore, but I saw them live at Slam Dunk Festival and they supported someone as well, but quite a few years ago. You're talking 15 years ago now. But the song they have called Gloria is amazing and I highly suggest checking it out because it's got a similar kind of guitar tone and a similar dark vibe with it, which is very, very different to a lot of songs that are out there, but I think is very similar to the Polaris song. So yeah, definitely check that out. Check out that song, Gloria by Canterbury. You can still find it online. Sometimes you have to type Canterbury band Gloria for it to come up. Otherwise, you just get Google Maps trying to take you to Canterbury in the UK, which is a beautiful place and worth checking out. But if you want to find the song, type Canterbury band. Moving on to my last top song off the album. This is the song actually that ends the album. So Future started it and then this song bookends it. And this song is called 23. Again, absolutely love the guitar in this song. That's one of the consistent things you will find with Jimmy Eat World is that the instrumentation is amazing and especially the guitar work is amazing. And one of the other things is that there's, after the initial guitar, there's a violin that comes in and you get a minute 40 of just pure instrumentation. There's no lyrics in there until a minute 40. And another thing about Jimmy Eat World that's really amazing with the work they do is there's never a wasted note. There's never a wasted instrument that's added to it. Every instrument, every note, every lyric is there to add to the song and bring it to a full piece, like a full cake. They're all different elements that go into the cake. And you really feel that. I saw the Charlie Puth, Rick Beato interview recently. And one of the things that Rick asked Charlie was like, oh, you know, when it comes to all the different vocalizations and all extra instruments and all that you use in your songs, is that everything or are those just flourishes? Like, what is it? And Charlie was like, no, that's everything. Like, you want everything in there to make it the total song, and if you remove any elements of it, it means that it's not the same record and it doesn't work. And that's how I feel about Jimmy Eat World. With their songs, there's always elements that just feel so perfectly mixed into what's going on. Like, you could have had the intro to this song to be just the guitar, just the bass, and just the drums, and it would have been impactful, but that violin coming in and it being a through note throughout the entire song really just completely adds to everything that's happening. And so yeah, minute 40 instrumental before the lyrics come in. And then the violin that drops out, so it's just the guitar and Jim's voice. And it really sets the tone for the rest of the song because there's these peaks and troughs and these little builds and releases throughout the whole song. So you get this kind of intense 1 minute 40 and then it drops and then it comes back up again. And the choruses are really up here whilst the verses are really down here. And you get the sense that you're building to something big and that the song is building to this big release of energy, but with these little releases of energy across the way. Before I talk about the main release of energy towards the end of the song, I want to talk about the chorus because it's another chorus that is really poignant. And the chorus is, "You'll sit alone forever if you wait for the right time." That in itself is an impactful lyric and tells you a lot. What are you hoping for? I'm here, I'm now, I'm ready. Holding on tight, don't give away the end. The one thing that stays mine. It's quite interesting because it sort of paints the picture of, as humans, we're obviously in control of the decisions we make. And because we're in control of the decisions we make and other people don't make those decisions for us, we do we can have anxiety about an end, but we can impact the end of a situation. And so what it feels like he's saying is, if you sit forever and just wait for the right time, then all you're going to do is nothing. You're not going to make any difference. You're not going to make the decision you want to make. You're not going to do the things you want to do. So what are you hoping for? Just do the thing you want to do. And it's interesting because as a human, we often know what the right decision is and can sometimes not make it because it might not be logical, or it might be emotional, or it might be too logical, or it might be too emotional. And it's that constant balance of finding the right thing to do. And saying don't give away the end, it's almost like, okay, I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking about all the permutations or permeations, whichever the word is. Put in the comments, tell me which word it is because I can't remember. And looking at all of the different outcomes that could happen. And so it's like, don't give away the end, I need to figure this out. So really well encapsulated in that chorus. But even just the first line, like I said, you'll sit alone forever if you wait for the right time. That says all you need to know. If you don't take action and you just wait for the right moment, you're never going to do anything. You're never going to do your big movie kiss in the rain with the girl that you love or the guy that you love. You're always going to be sat back and not making any decision. And that's no way to live. So yeah, really powerful stuff to put into the line there. And the chorus that finishes off the song, but just before the chorus, there's this amazing guitar solo, and that's the release of this energy that's been sort of building throughout the song. I saw this live actually when they did their Alexandra Palace gig, and it genuinely felt like that. You had the start and all the lighting was low, and then you got to the choruses and the choruses were much more up, and you were like, I can feel that something's building, I feel that something's coming, I know the song, I'm waiting for it. And then the guitar solo hits and all the energy and all the angst and all the feeling and all the emotion that you've had throughout the whole album, from Futures to Work to Pain to Polaris, to then finish off on 23, is the perfect end to the album. Genuinely, it's an amazing album, and I implore you to check it out because you will not be disappointed. And I imagine that you'll listen to this album and then you'll dive into all of the other beautiful works of Jimmy Eat World. I'm sure the next album I'll talk about is Bleed American because there's some absolute bangers on that. So yeah, that tells you my sort of favorites off of the album and what I'd reckon you should start with. I think Futures, to be honest, if you haven't heard of Jimmy Eat World, I would say listen to The Middle as the first song recommendation, because that's, you'll listen to it and go, oh yeah, I recognize this. So I'd listen to that first of all, and then I'd jump into Futures, because Futures is just an amazing album opener and it still gives you that Jimmy Eat World feel. And then I dive into Polaris and 23 because they're a lot darker and you get the kind of slightly more pop punk alternative elements, and you get this slightly darker Leonard Cohen-esque lyrical content to the other songs that you get in Polaris and 23. And that's throughout all of their albums and all of their songs. You can find these different ways that they do things whilst getting across the message of the song they want to get across. So yeah, check out Futures, check out the album, and yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. If you've enjoyed this episode, let me know what you've enjoyed about it. Give me a like and give me a subscribe. I'll be posting episodes every week and talking about new bands, new albums, taking deep dives, and would love to hear your thoughts. So engage and just put comments out. Like it if you've enjoyed it. Like I said, subscribe, listen on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere else you can get a podcast. Watch me on YouTube, and then I will see you again next week.